What's up? Wanted to come on and have a little bit of a chat about this rumour that's going around that everyone's losing their minds over about the idea that Xbox could be going third party, or the idea that Xbox could be bringing over Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush to PlayStation 5 and Nintendo Switch. Obviously, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas. I did plan to get on and do a Christmas video, but Christmas is a really busy time, family visiting and whatnot. So, hope everyone had a lovely New Year, and 2024 is a great year for everybody. So this rumour started yesterday, or the day before. I think it was leaked by Jeff Grubb, who was a journalist who I've had a few interactions with, all positive. Actually DM'd him a few times and he's always DM'd me back. He's a journalist, he's quite good at sort of breaking rumours and stuff. So I would still take it with a pinch of salt. It is just a rumour. But the whole discourse about it on Twitter, good old Twitter, or X as it's rather called now, it's just the sad thing to see is how it's affected the die-hard Xbox fans. And just for clarity, I'm not a fanboy. I have done the whole fanboy thing as a child and a teen, but I just try and play my games anywhere I can. That's why I have a PC, PlayStation 5, Series X and a Switch. So I'm sort of not really bothered about any of this, because if Sea of Thieves did come over to PlayStation, I would play Sea of Thieves with my friends on PlayStation. I play Sea of Thieves with my friends on Xbox, and I play it on PC as well. It's a great game. It's a live service game. I don't really think it would be a bad thing for that to come over to another platform. It would certainly raise the install base. It would generate a wider player base. It would generate money for Xbox. I don't really see any being like negatives about it, other than the console fanboys that are sort of like, this is my bit of plastic, you're not using our games, what, you know. But if I get, you know, and it's that mindset that boggles me, you know. I don't understand the whole console war thing. Apparently the console war's not even a thing anymore, according to Phil Spencer. You know, he came out and said, we lost the console war, we lost the most important generation that we couldn't afford to lose, which was the PS4 generation. Everyone left and built their PS4 libraries and digital libraries on PlayStation. You can't out-console PlayStation Nintendo. Even if Starfield's an 11 out of 10, people aren't going to suddenly trade in the PlayStation 5s. We're not in the console business anymore, we're in the subscription business. These are all things that he's said, and yet still you have people that are sort of like head in the sand, la 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 la, that didn't happen, you know, he didn't mean it, why do, what, you know, desperately trying to cling on to this console war that is not even a console war anymore, you know. PlayStation's outselling Xbox consoles 3-1. Xbox seem to be in the subscription. They're more interested about Game Pass and getting people to subscribe to Game Pass and getting Game Pass everywhere and anywhere they can. You don't even really need to own an Xbox now. You can, if you have a PC, you can get a pretty decent PC now for 300, 400, 500 quid. So they're sort of making their own console sort of irrelevant. I have an Xbox Series X and I barely use it. I always play my Game Pass games on my PC. I do use my Series X for when my friends on Xbox that only have an Xbox want to play Call of Duty, Fortnite, Remnant 2, Forza, anything like that. Halo Infinite, I'll jump over and go, yeah, cool, no problem, I'll play on there. Sometimes I'll even play with them when they're on Xbox and I'm on my PC, because I just prefer using my PC. But this whole thing, like the thing on the conversation on Twitter where people are like up in arms about Xbox, how could they do this? How could they even think about releasing first party games on another platform? I'm finished with Xbox if they do this and everything like that. If you're, you know, if that console is making you that unhappy, there is nothing wrong with finding something else that does make you happy. You can't constantly be waving your fist in the air, you know, demanding a company turn back the clocks just for you. Times are changing. Xbox haven't been doing very well. since the Xbox One. You know, this was marketed, the Series X was marketed as the world's most powerful console. Then we had Redfall, you know, it's Starfield, you know, Starfield was a great game, I enjoyed it, but it's not an absolute, oh my god, this is a console selling, you know, game, in my opinion. So I don't understand these people that are keeping themselves angry. And you know, if something's not working for you and it's making you that unhappy, then there's nothing wrong with branching out and doing something else. I made the jump from Xbox 360 to PlayStation 4. I totally skipped the Xbox One. I did buy an Xbox One S in the middle of the generation and then quickly sold it because there was nothing there for me that really... Once I played all the games that, you know, got caught up on all the exclusives and stuff, but I got rid of it. I couldn't be bothered. So I was one of them people that Phil Spencer talked about. You know, I was fully invested in the Xbox ecosystem. Some would say I was probably a bit of a fanboy back then. You know, Xbox One, Xbox 360. I had 3 separate Xbox 360s, all had the red ring of death, and then still bought an Xbox 360 Slim, and then the power pack broke on that. Then I watched that announcement for the Xbox One, and I was just like, this isn't for me, this isn't a console, this is just about TV and Connect, and there was no games, and that whole generation was a dud, you know, and people still try and defend it, but it was a dud. They just handed PlayStation that generation on a plate. When you buy a PlayStation now, if you buy a PS5, you are getting all of their PlayStation 5 games that they've had in the last 2 years, plus that whole generation of 10 years of PlayStation 4 that was an absolute banger. You can have that all when you buy a PlayStation. You buy an Xbox now, you've got Game Pass, and yeah, you've got all the Halos, all the Gears, you've got all the Forzas, there's all the Fables on there. There's some really cool, they've got the best back catalogue of 360 games, in my opinion. All the Splinter Cells, all these amazing, the Darkness, you know, all these great 360 games that have disappeared on PlayStation. PlayStation only goes back as far as PlayStation 3, and even their PlayStation 3 catalogue on Premium is pretty. PlayStation Plus Premium's a joke, let's be honest. But like, it's the people that are so up in arms about this happening, and it's just a rumour. It might not happen. I can see it happening because Xbox are in a weird position at the moment where they are third place, and I know they're not really that arsed about selling consoles, but they're in third place. The marketing behind everything's a mess. The messaging behind everything's a mess. Everything. Anytime Phil Spencer opens his mouth, he contradicts himself. There's just no clear sort of vision of where this is going. They've made all these acquisitions. They've bought Bethesda. They've bought Activision. I don't know when we're going to sort of see the fruits of that. Starfield was sort of mediocre, in my opinion. Halo Infinite came out, and that was terrible at launch, but Halo Infinite's free to play now, and it's absolutely amazing. I don't know why they don't make Halo Infinite multiplayer available across everything, because Fortnite's free to play, Apex Legends is free to play, Halo is now free to play. You know, why not get Halo on Xbox and everything else? It just makes sense because it's just so much money left on the table. And the PlayStation install base is like, they've just sold like 50 million units or so. They've just crossed that threshold or something stupid. And it's just the messaging behind everything, like, we're going to review everything from a case-by-case basis, you know, and then Redfall's an exclusive and it does terrible. You know, is it not worth trying to get that across to PlayStation, to try and breathe a bit of life into it, to get more people playing it? It's just these little things that, you know, Hi-Fi Rush is a year old. Sea of Thieves is like 6 years old on Xbox. I don't understand why why Hi-Fi Rush or Sea of Thieves possibly going over to PlayStation is such a big thing when you've already got Cuphead on there on PlayStation and Nintendo. You've got Minecraft on Nintendo and PlayStation. It just seems very petty. And it's mainly the sort of, you know, you've got your Xbox fans, you've got your video game fans, then you've got your PlayStation fans, then you've got your Xbox fans, your Nintendo fans. And then you've got your rabid PlayStation fans, your rabid Xbox fans, and it seems to be the rabid Xbox fans that are the ones that are the most upset, because they feel they've made Xbox part of their identity as a person, whether they're on Twitter, whatever. And same with PlayStation, people that have got blue or green love hearts and little emojis doing this, and Xbox ambassador and all this sort of stuff with Xbox everywhere, and constantly just tweeting stuff about PlayStation, ironically. It's them people that seem to be the most upset by this, because it's almost like they're thinking that this is it, it's over. But they're not really seeing the bigger picture. Like, if Xbox is interested in making people play their games in any way, shape or form, in what, on Game Pass or whatever, then either they're going to bring Game Pass over to PlayStation and Nintendo, and if PlayStation and Nintendo don't want Game Pass on the platform, then, take the next Call of Duty, for instance. If the next Call of Duty comes out and PlayStation and Nintendo don't want Game Pass on their platform, Xbox is going to be sitting there going, okay, the new Call of Duty Cold War's coming to Game Pass, it's exclusive on Game Pass, you can play it day one. But there's 50 million other potential customers out there that will buy and play this game on another platform. It's kind of a no-brainer that Xbox would go, yeah, let's bring that over, because it is such a big game. It's the biggest, multiplayer shooter of the year every single year. Modern Warfare 3, granted, was a little bit. I mean, I still enjoyed the multiplayer, but the campaign was apparently crap. I've not played it. You've got all that money sitting there, just not being, owned or taken. It's money on the table. 50 million possible units of people playing that game. And because it's not going... So if they don't want Game Pass, if PlayStation doesn't want Game Pass, but Xbox says, well, we'll bring it over to PlayStation, and they charge full price $70 for it, then that's even more money in Xbox's pocket. And I just feel like people aren't looking at the bigger picture here. Like I said, when you've got Phil Spencer coming out and saying, we're not interested, we're not in the console selling business, we're in the subscription selling business, that's a huge, massive, I wouldn't say warning sign. It doesn't mean Xbox is going away. Maybe they will leave the console market and do a Sega, but there's rumoured that they're going to bring in a console out in 2026. So Xbox are in a really weird position at the moment. Nintendo's doing their thing. Nintendo aren't competing with PlayStation. Nintendo aren't even competing with Xbox. Nintendo's doing their own thing. But Nintendo can survive on their own first-party games. They've probably got the best first-party lineup out of all three of them. Zelda, Mario Kart, Super Metroid. Everything on there. It's crazy. Xenoblade Chronicles, Pikmin, Pokemon. It's crazy. They could... Nintendo's going to be absolutely fine. PlayStation's in the same position. They've got all these amazing first-party games. Uncharted, Last of Us, Detroit Become Human. All these Final Fantasy seems to be first party at the moment. I know it's not official, but there's no way Final Fantasy remake and the 16 is going to suddenly jump. I cannot see a Final Fantasy game coming to Xbox anytime soon. It's just they could survive on their own, because them consoles are in a totally different position to what Xbox is. Xbox lost their way when the Xbox One came out. When Don Matrick came out and fucked that console for that generation. They have been playing catch up ever since. And yes, they've been going around and buying stuff, and PlayStation's bought things as well, but not into the extreme of the likes of Xbox spending that much money on Activision and Bethesda. And we're still waiting to see the fruits of that. Where's all the Call of Duty games? Why aren't all the Call of Duty games now on a Game Pass? Why isn't all the World of Warcrafts on PC Game Pass, if anything? Where's all the Diablo games? Why aren't we getting all these injections into Game Pass? Even though Game Pass, I think, gets updated very frequently, and you get some nice surprises on there, and I think it's a great service. It's better than PlayStation Plus Premium, like I've said. But we're not really seeing the fruits of all this money being spent, and maybe it's going to take a bit of time, but time is something that Xbox don't have. And it's almost like they've painted themselves or backed themselves into this corner, and they're relying on their rabid fan base to sort of fight the fight and do PR for them and everything, and they do it for free. And these companies don't care about you or me. Phil Spencer's not my friend, and he's not your friend. They care about the profits and the investors and who how many people, how many subscribers, and how many people have subscribed, and how many games are being bought, and all this sort of stuff. So it's a very weird situation that Xbox are in, and I know it's just a rumor, but I could see them starting off small with little things like Sea of Thieves. Oh, we're going to bring Sea of Thieves over to PlayStation. We're going to bring Hi-Fi Rush over to PlayStation. If you were a Hi-Fi Rush fan and you only own an Xbox, and some of your friends are only on PlayStation, and you've just finished a game, and you're talking to your mates and going, oh yeah, I've just finished this game, Hi-Fi Rush, it was absolutely amazing, it was such a good game, blah, blah, blah. And then you find out that it's coming over to PlayStation. Wouldn't you then say to your friends, oh, that game that I was telling you about, Hi-Fi Rush, it's coming to PlayStation, you should definitely give it a go? Wouldn't you be happy that a game that you love gets to go to another platform so your friends can experience it, and then you can have this conversation about, well, what did you think of Hi-Fi Rush? Oh, it was amazing. So more people are going to play it and buy it and put more money in the company and the brand that you love. It just seems very like, it's weird, selfish, like, sort of outlook. Like, this console is just for me. The games on it are just for me. And don't get me wrong, exclusives have been a thing since fucking the NES. Nintendo versus Sega. Nintendo versus PlayStation. PlayStation versus Xbox. But we've never seen... I'm surprised Xbox are still, like... I don't want to say that I'm surprised that they're still around, because of course they are, but I don't think they can afford to fuck up further, if you know what I mean. Because usually it's like 3 strikes, you're out. We saw it with Dreamcast. We nearly saw it with Nintendo, with the Wii U. The Wii U nearly destroyed Nintendo. And Xbox are just in this really weird sort of limbo at the moment, where we're talking about games that are coming, but they're nowhere near ready. We've got 3 games coming out this year, according to Xbox, which is the new Flight Simulator, Hellblade, and Avowed. Still no heavy release dates for them. Then we've got all these other games that are coming out, but there's no release date, not even years tagged to them. So we're constantly talking about what's coming. 2021 is going to be Xbox's year, and then nothing happens. 2022 is going to be Xbox's year, then nothing happens. 2023 is going to be Xbox's year, then nothing really happens. 2024, it's definitely going to happen. Do you know what I mean? And it just seems to be this, like, and I admire diehard Xbox fans, persistence and loyalty. I really do. But there's got to be a point where you sort of think, we've got to sort of, like, I'm just sitting here at the moment and I'm not enjoying being part of this ecosystem. So, and like I say, PlayStation and Nintendo aren't in the same position as Xbox. Xbox are in a really weird position at the moment. I'm not saying they're struggling, but they are in a really sort of weird, uneasy position, in my opinion. And that's why I think they need to sort of make these decisions, and they're thinking, and it's looking like they could be changing strategy to be like, right, okay, we're going to release everything on Game Pass day one, but we're going to start trickling things out onto other platforms just so we can get a bigger player base, more money in our back pocket. I could be wrong, but that's my opinion on it. But yeah, I just don't feel like, some of these rabid people are getting really upset, and I just feel like, if a brand is making you that upset, there's nothing wrong with bowing out and going, do you know what, I'm going to give another thing a go. You'd still be part of the Xbox ecosystem. Nothing wrong with getting yourself a PlayStation. I realise that a lot of people don't have the finances to do that. I'm very fortunate, but I am pretty core when it comes to gaming. and I like to just be able to play everything and anything that comes out. I love the ability to just jump on and play some Mario Kart and play some Super Mario Wonder and some Zelda. I love the ability to just jump on a PlayStation and play some Final Fantasy or some God of War or Uncharted or Last of Us. You know, Last of Us 2 remake upgrade next month. We're really looking forward to that. I love playing on my PC and Xbox and using Game Pass to play Halo Infinite and everything. But that is an extreme luxury, and I realise that you've also got to take into account that a lot of these people on Twitter don't have a profile picture and could be just like an 11-year-old kid that only gets a console every Christmas or birthday. So there is that to factor into it as well. But when you can see somebody's profile and they are a grown-ass man and they are talking like, this is our Xbox, nobody's using any games from here. It's sort of like, I do think exclusive should be a thing, and it amazes me why Xbox hasn't come out and gone, yeah, the next Call of Duty is exclusive. Every single Bethesda game and Activision game going forward is going to be exclusive on Xbox and PC Game Pass. And then everyone will either flock out and buy a PC or flock out and buy an Xbox, because Call of Duty is such a huge game. It's crazy how it's just the messaging. It's so confusing. Really is. Really confusing. And I do feel for people that are solely invested in the Xbox system, but you know, it's I've been saying for a while the writing's been on the wall, but it always falls on deaf ears. People have selective memories. People like to forget things that Phil Spencer's come out and said. You know, pretty damning things like we've lost the console war, etc. You know, it's just crazy. It really is. It's just one of these really weird situations that they're in, and I don't know how they're going to sort of get themselves out of it. Maybe they will just go third party like Sega. Who knows? But yeah, it's certainly one to watch. And it is just a rumor, but it's also cool and interesting to sort of speculate about things like that. But it always seems to be Xbox. It always seems to be Xbox. There's always something. And I really feel so many L's. Do you know what I mean? So many L's. A very few wins. Do you know what I mean? And it's not nice to see, because you need competition as well. You need competition, but PlayStation doesn't need Xbox like Xbox needs PlayStation. Nintendo doesn't need Xbox like Xbox needs Nintendo. Nintendo doesn't need PlayStation. PlayStation doesn't need Nintendo. Do you know what I mean? So it's almost like Xbox is sort of the odd one out that's sort of like, you know, needs some relevance about it and needs a bit of an injection, whether it be through a higher player base, you know, or, you know, just getting things on different systems. But we'll just have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. But Happy New Year. Hope everyone has a lovely year. I will do another video about my Christmas presents that I got this year. But I hope everyone stays safe and has a lovely 2024. All the best.